Hello everyone, and welcome to the practice journey. Getting better at your instrument involves getting out of your comfort zone, and the most obvious way to do that is to learn new repertoire. Starting a new piece, however, is often an intimidating experience, and when you take a jump up in difficulty to challenge yourself, you might feel overwhelmed and not know where to start. That is the topic of today's video. How do you go about learning and practicing new, difficult repertoire? My first tip is to stay calm and not let impressive recordings and the frightening number of notes persuade you to drop the piece and fall back on your comfortable repertoire. Sure, you could still learn a lot from that, but it's always healthy to push your limits. Embrace the challenge and keep pushing your technical abilities further. To me, the most important part of putting a new piece together is understanding the structure mentally. Make sure you have a complete picture of the piece in your mind. To achieve this, go slowly through the piece and get familiar with the different challenges it encompasses. Don't be afraid to go very slowly. Half the tempo or even slower, it doesn't matter. Just listen to these quite rough early recordings of myself practicing. First, a jumping passage. Then a technical passage with a difficult run. Even while playing in a slow tempo, it should quickly become clear what passages will cause you the most difficulty. Then you need to have the courage to isolate and focus on these. I believe you should learn the notes first, and then you can add the music later. It will end up helping you massively in a concert setting if you've made what are initially the most difficult passages into your best ones. Think of these passages as the parts where you can really show confidence. For example, here are some recent recordings of the same passages from before. And now in a faster tempo. As you can hear, the final run still isn't clean. To fix this, I will keep practicing it in a slower tempo. But what if the problem isn't how fast the music is, but rather how conceptually complex it is, like a solo cadenza for example? For me, the concept of learning the notes methodically first still applies. But to make these places really shine, you need to have a definite plan. Sit down and really think about how you would personally shape the music. Allow yourself the freedom of tempo and dynamics which a cadenza allows, and make it truly your own. Contrast this metronomic playing. With the rubato playing. Playing with metronome can be of assistance, but always keep interpretation and freedom in mind in cadenzas. When you've reached the point where you understand the piece and can play any given part of it as you want it to be performed, I would suggest attempting playthroughs as soon as possible. If the piece is fast, you can happily start in slower tempo. Again, even in half tempo if necessary. Don't see it as a step back. Technical passages often become more difficult in the context of a playthrough. No matter the tempo, you should try to add as much music as possible at this step. Really play all the articulations, dynamics, phrases, etc. and exaggerate, exaggerate, exaggerate. This is again in service to future concerts, where familiarity with how it feels to perform the piece in full will give you more security, and exaggeration is necessary, as the audience will always hear less expression than you feel yourself. When you can play through the whole piece with musicality, you can begin increasing the tempo, if necessary, and repeat the process. If you spot a passage which keeps causing trouble, it could be a good idea to go back a step and really focus on that place in isolation again. This way, you will slowly but surely get the piece into a performable state and begin practicing it in the same manner as your known repertoire. My last tip would be to play it in a concert or recital. This is really the only way to know exactly how comfortable you are in technically demanding passages. Anyway, those were the methods which I've personally used while practicing André Jolivet's Bassoon Concerto, a piece that was written with the intention of pushing the boundaries of bassoon technique, and which has found itself as a classic showpiece for bassoonists. It's filled with non-diatonic fast runs and passages, and there is a very difficult cadenza in the first movement. These methods have greatly helped me understand the piece, and it's no longer a seemingly impossible task to play it. As always, I would love to hear from you in the comments. How do you deal with difficult repertoire? Could my methods be of assistance to you? Please let me know, and I hope you will return next time for another chapter in the practice journey.